It's Ports a Call waterfront dining, award-winning service and cuisine with a view of the dynamic L.A. harbor from every seat. For reservations and directions, visit portsacalldining.com or call 310-833-3553.
We like each other.
Welcome to another edition of Living Out Loud. I'm Barbara Venezia, and along with my co-host, stylist of the stars, Rene Horsch.
Hey.
And Dr. Jorge Rodriguez.
Hola, chola.
Our TV doctor, Dr.
Television
Jorge.
doctor. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Famous.
Yes.
He's famous now because
And,
people stop him on the streets.
One person.
Have you ever seen, he's got this white lab coat, and he's got this great logo. It just says Dr. Jorge.
Ooh.
It's branding.
It's like Cher and Madonna.
Yes.
It just says their first name, right?
Dr. Jorge. When
Forget you dump the last name. It's just like Dr.
No,
Jorge.
people have done that. People have done that in the television industry against doctors' wills to try to make doctors more accessible. All right, so I don't. So we haven't done it. It was always disrespectful.
Your logo says Dr. Jorge.
Because that's what I started getting called on, like The View, or drop a name.
Okay, Oprah.
Dr. Phil, Dr. Jorge, Dr. Oz. That is his last name. That's
that really is his last name?
Yeah, his first name is Mehmet. Would you call him Dr. Mehmet?
No,
Yeah.
Dr. Oz is
Yeah, Oz is
catchier.
that's a home
That's
run.
Well, Dr. Jorge, I think that's very sexy.
It is.
I do. I like it.
It is,
Jorge.
baby. It is, baby.
It makes you wonder what kind of panties he's
Don't-
wearing.
Oh, so see,
She
she
beat
dropped,
me to it.
She
She
dropped
dropped
the
the panties.
Yeah. Woo.
Since we talk about panties on every show, I figured I'd be the first
You're
one
just like,
out there.
okay, I'm gonna get it next time.
I was already thinking, how can I talk about
Yeah.
panties?
How do I bring it all back to panties?
We should talk about tank tops because he's still wearing
He's
a tank
wearing
top.
Yeah,
a
I'm
white
wearing the tank.
beater, yes.
He
with
looks like something out of
amazing
West Side
muscles.
Story, doesn't he?
Right. You expect him to be snapping those. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, did you know he was cheating on us on another podcast?
Oh.
Yes.
What a whore.
I know.
So
Well,
you
hey.
were on Brandi Glanville's
Isn't that cool?
podcast?
Yeah.
Wasn't she on our podcast once? Did she call in?
I don't think so. We had like Tamara Barney. We had Lisa Vanderpump 3 times.
You had so many of those
those
Beverly
housewives.
Hills, Orange County
Holly
housewives.
Davidson. Yeah, we had some good. Kim Richards.
Yeah, we had a lot of them. I lost track of how many.
All those-
So
we had the OC and the BH. So yeah.
they were all blending together.
No, they're very different, though.
Yeah,
I think the Beverly
you
Hills
watch
ones.
that stuff?
I have watched some on occasion, but I haven't watched it in years. But when I watched it, I thought the Beverly Hills were the most entertaining.
Yeah, they
'Cause
are
I thought
good,
they
aren't
were
they?
the
They're
craziest. Atlanta was pretty crazy too, but that was like ghetto crazy.
Well, that's like
and
that's like wackadoodle crazy.
it was
Yeah,
wackadoodle, and then you had the rich crazy over here.
I don't know. See, I watched him a couple of times, and all I walked away with was, "Damn, I don't want to live in that neighborhood."
Yeah. But here's the funny thing: they all don't live by each other. They're all living all over the place.
And,
in
they
Beverly
probably, and they
Hills,
hardly
yeah.
probably knew each other.
That's the wild
It's
thing,
just
yeah.
casting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what's Brandi's
So hers
podcast?
is
She's
called,
on Podcast One Network.
Yeah. And so that was done. It's over on Maple Drive in Beverly Hills, and
Which is right by where you work.
which was great. I was like, God, maybe we should. I thought
I
we
work
could
in
do
Beverly
like
Hills too. You know.
I know you
Don't
do.
tell people. Don't tell
Maybe we
people.
could bring you and Mike up to Beverly Hills. and We'll do a podcast there.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
So what does she talk about?
Hers is called No Filter, and she pretty much like kind of. It's like an interview show, and so she interviewed Mark and I, and we talked about style and what we do and the celebrities that we cater to.
Right, at
and
Mark Zanino.
At
Let's
Mark
give them a
Zanino.
shameless
Yeah. Plug.
Right.
Come get your glamour gown at us at our place. Yeah.
And panties.
Oh, and we do panties.
You should.
We did Jennifer Lopez's panties and
I asked
Britney.
you that-
See?
see?
Yeah.
All right. See.
All right.
Yeah.
So now
That'll be
But
big.
big,
Big
huge.
panties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what her show's about, and it was like an interview program, and unlike how we have our guests that will call in, we
Right.
actually sat like how we are all sitting at the table, and she was sitting across from Mark and I, and so it's a great show, and the interesting thing was I said, well, how long does this run for? And she's like, well, as long as I want it to run for.
You
She's
go,
like,
girl.
Yeah, no, she was like, she's like, if I have a really boring guest, she's like, it'll only be 15 minutes, but if I have like a really great guest, I'll keep him there for an hour.
How long did she keep you?
We were there for an hour.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so had she hit you
Come
up
on,
for-
would you kick this out in 15 minutes?
No.
Not you
please.
guys,
Heck
no.
She wanted free clothing.
I was just about to. You are so reading my mind. So has she stopped
Did you
in
give her
and-
panties?
and,
Yeah.
and asked for free stuff?
No, she said that. I mean, she's we've said that we would like loan her some dresses, for red carpets and things like that. But,
So is she still on the Beverly Hills? Is the Beverly Hills Housewives?
No, in fact, she's not. She's got her own. She has 2 shows, 2 spinoffs. She's got a cooking show that she's on, and on the E Network, and then there's also like some other show on the E Network where it's about singles, people that are single, and she's one of the.
I
they've
hate
got
skinny people who have cooking shows.
Yeah, well,
it's just not that
she's got gore.
Let me tell you, she's beautiful.
Yeah, she really
is.
is.
I've seen her twice in person. One was at Sir or whatever.
Oh yeah, Sir.
Lisa Vanderpump's other, yeah. And then another one was on the Doctors. I was leaving and she was coming in. She is tall.
She's tall. She's like weighs probably like 110 pounds.
Yeah.
She's got great little skinny legs, and she looks good. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
She scared me.
She did.
Well, I'm
because
Cuban.
she was so tall.
No, because I'm Cuban.
Oh, okay.
And her ex-husband, who cheated on her with Leanne Rimes, is Cuban. So maybe she doesn't like Cubans, and I was afraid that she was going to like.
You know a little bit too much about the situation.
Well, I read. Yes, her husband,
just because
who was an actor, left her for Leanne Rimes. Yeah, cheated on her with Leanne Rimes.
Well, and
Really?
Brandy's so beautiful. I was like, wow, how could you kick that
Well,
out of
there's
bed,
no
right?
accounting for taste.
Right.
Well, you may be beautiful, but you may be like not doing what you need to do.
Maybe she wasn't.
I don't know if we want to go there.
No, I mean, what I'm saying, beauty isn't everything.
Right.
Maybe
it's
Leanne
not.
does more bang bang yum yum. I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, she cooks Chinese.
Maybe she cooks
Bang,
Chinese.
bang, yum, yum.
Yeah.
In her panties, I bet.
Well, let's go from panties.
Let's go from panties and bang bang yum yum to
talking about something that Jorge does regularly.
Bang, bang,
which
yum, yum.
is which is talk about colon health a lot on the Doctors, because you.
well, panties and colons, that kind of goes hand in hand, right? So.
What about colon health?
You do colonoscopies or something that you do in your practice.
Absolutely. It's like my bread and butter.
And, I mean,
so to speak.
I've certainly had a couple of them in my time. But it's funny because when I hear my friends who are going, I'm going to colonoscopy for the first time, and they are just dreading it. And I always say, hey, it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
So it's kind of like anxiety that people like.
Well, first of all, it's anxiety because, come on. Somebody's going to put a 5-foot tube in your butt. So that creates...
Is it really that long?
5 feet long?
Bump. Yeah, yes, the colonoscopy
I thought it was a camera.
It's a camera at the end of a 5-foot tube. It's a small little microchip, and it is a flexible hose that we control almost like an instrument. Seriously, it takes a lot of training to do that. So the chip at the end delivers the image to this big high-def screen TV.
Yeah.
And there are all these empty little ports in there that you can put smaller little tubes that open up into little hands and take biopsies, or into lassos, and you remove polyps.
Wow.
90% of all colon cancers happen in people over the age of 50.
50?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't get one before, right? Or
You
your
can.
insurance won't cover it.
Well,
yeah.
that's right. You have to have a reason to have an early colonoscopy.
So you're in a twilight sleep, basically.
Yeah, you don't...
I didn't remember anything.
You shouldn't, because it's uncomfortable. I mean, when that tube turns the corners, it spasms your colon, and it's like labor contractions, I hear. And we put air in to expand the colon. Yeah, and that causes discomfort.
So it must be like
you
farting
are.
a lot afterwards, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you haven't had one
I haven't
yet.
had one yet. I'm like kind of...
Well, today's your lucky day.
Yeah, no, but I've been like
Brought
dreading
one.
it because I'm thinking...
Take down those panties.
Yeah.
No, it really. I mean,
mine.
I've had 2 now. Because
Yeah.
I'm 60 years old, and really, it's been non-eventful. The first time I was dreading it because of the anticipation, but after you have the first one, it's.
I've had the HRA test, which that's going up.
Yes, that's
down
not
there,
going
but
up that
that's-
far.
Yeah.
That's just in the anus.
Right.
Yeah.
Now there's a
That's
commercial.
just
I
in
saw
your
a
anus.
commercial.
Yeah.
Just this morning, in fact, because we talked about it yesterday, but I saw it this morning for Cologuard.
Cologuard. So Cologuard is a new test that can actually check for the gene of colon cancer. So what does that mean? That means that if you have colon cancer and you send the specimen out, and really you have to shit into a bucket. Let's just put it. It's like a whole bucket full of crap. And you mail that out. Insurance doesn't cover it.
You mail it. What do you?
You
FedEx
mail it out.
Poop out?
Oh, there's poop in the mail all the time. We have our you can FedEx your
Really?
poop. That's how we do the specimens with our patients. Yes.
Okay.
There's like some stinky mail going around. Huh?
There is.
Yeah.
There is. There's
Some
shit
sticky
everywhere.
packages. Yeah.
So
my
and it is a
gosh.
bucket. right? And they send it out.
So it can't be just a smear. You really have to have a...
It's the bucket. You should have seen it. Really is the size of a little pail where kids go to and put sand in the beach.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken, huh? Right? Just
I don't know where you
bucket.
eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. but
No, like a bucket.
But here's the thing. If there is cancer in your colon,
Yeah.
It'll show up.
It will show up.
In the
problem I have with that is that by the time you find it, it's already there. All right? And then you need a colonoscopy to see where it is, to remove it, or see if it's big enough.
So you may as well just like bite the bullet and do
that's
the
what I say.
colonoscopy,
That's
right?
what I say. There gave an example on TV of a woman that didn't do a colonoscopy because she was afraid of the prep. A lot of people don't want to do it because they have to starve more or less the day before.
Right.
So she waited a few years and then she tried the Cologuard, and she had colon cancer. My thing is, had you done it 2 years before,
Right.
It could have been avoided, it could have been prevented.
Yeah.
So in a colonoscopy, can you see precancerous conditions?
Yes.
And what are those?
Well, you don't know until you remove it and look at it under a microscope. It's a lot like what we talked about a few weeks ago in our podcast about skin cancer. You have to remove it and analyze it to see if there's cancer there. When I go into a colon, if I see any unusual bump,
okay.
all right, and that's called a polyp, we remove them. We remove every single one.
Wow. So you don't just eyeball like, oh, that looks like a such and such.
No,
that
that's
definitely
called
is,
called a lawsuit.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
you can't eyeball it. Yeah, there's some that ooh, that's cancer. And you remove it.
But I mean, but like, let's say when you, but I know you remove them all, but can you be like, oh, that one definitely is? Like, have you seen?
Yeah, of course. You can. I shouldn't say of course. That sounds like hoity-toity. Of course. But you need to remove them because different polyps are more dangerous than others.
Oh, wow.
So you can say, all right, this one has a 10% chance of turning to cancer. This one has a 30. So that determines when you have to come back for another colonoscopy. Sometimes it's a year, 3 years.
What is the normal time? Because I thought it was every 5 years.
No. The recommendation is that if you don't have a family history of colon cancer and you had a normal colonoscopy, you need to have your stool checked every year by your doctor for blood. If that's negative, then you get a colonoscopy every 10 years.
Every 10 years?
Yes. All the guys in Silver Lake want it sooner than that. All you bears know who you are.
So, is there...
I'm not in Silver Lake.
No, you're right. And West Hollywood.
So let's talk about colon health. Are there things that you should be... Is there a dietary... Fiber.
What is
Fiber.
fiber? That's like broccoli, right?
Fiber is broccoli. Fiber is wheat. Fiber is fruits, the rind, not the juice. All that stuff is so important. The cultures that eat more fiber, like Asian cultures, African cultures, they have so much less colon cancer than we do. Rule of thumb, if your poop floats,
right,
you have enough fiber.
Oh.
If your poop sinks and there's greasiness on it, then you don't have enough fiber and you have too much fat in your diet.
Good to know.
Interesting.
So everybody
look
at
your to float.
Yes,
See?
yes.
Are there foods that you should definitely stay away from?
No.
Like peanuts, and I was told,
well, that's for
peanuts.
something else. Who told you that?
When I had my
what's up with
first
the peanuts?
colonoscopy, they said, don't eat peanuts.
Do you have diverticulosis?
No.
Okay, diverticulosis is when your colon has little pockets in it, like little mini appendixes, and that's when the peanuts can get stuck in there, little nuts.
Oh, I've heard about
so that's
that.
that's for something else. No.
And then they said, don't eat peanuts or popcorn.
Yeah, you have diverticulosis, I bet.
No, there was this sheet that said that was kind of an information sheet that they gave to everybody
For the prep the day before?
And it said, do you eat peanuts? Do you eat this? And I don't eat peanuts at all.
I completely disagree with that.
Any nuts?
You don't like- oh, you
no,
don't like
I just
nuts?
don't like the taste of nuts,
Really?
so I don't eat nuts.
See, I eat nuts
and
all the
I'm
time.
not a
I bet.
popcorn eater
I bet you
because
do.
I don't, because I have all these nice teeth and I don't want to eat popcorn.
No, those are
So
expensive.
Those
Yeah.
are two things that I never eat.
You got a fancy grill.
But it was on this like facts and figures of
I don't
You don't-
understand that. No. Only for diverticulosis, those little pockets, do some doctors recommend that you have not eat as many small little seedy things.
And is very quickly is colon cancer. What are the rate of survival?
If you have, depends on how extensive it is. If the colon cancer is limited to just the inside of the colon, then you can cut it out and and everything is good. But if not, the survival rate is only like 5%. So get your colon checked.
And on that note, that ends another edition of Living Out Loud. I'm Barbara Venezia. We'll see you next time.
Woohoo!
Lower your panties and check your colon.
You don't like peanut butter cups?
Damn it.
Those are the
No,
Reese's
no,
peanut butter cups?
I
Those are
hate
like,
that.
Oh, those are the
I
best.
love peanut butter.